All right, we're just discussing the big Carnival weekend. Parade's getting started tomorrow night. We are expecting some rainfall over the weekend, so we're going to kind of break down the timing of what is on the way. Though first, we'll start with the cold front that moved through. Today has been gorgeous, 55 degrees right now at Kenner, a dew point of 42, so beautiful weather going into the first night of parade. Slidell's got a number of them tomorrow night, and weather-wise, we're not going to be as chilly as we are tonight. Right now, there is a definite chill in the air. We're in the upper 40s, low mid 50s, low humidity as well. Boy, those dew points came plummeting down when that front moved on through. Yesterday afternoon, evening, and night, dew points were still in the low 70s. Then we finally started to get into that drier air, really started to drop as we got later into the morning and midday hours today. And that is all thanks to a northerly wind. Now, during the day tomorrow, those winds are going to be changing direction, and that's why we're expecting a warming trend. So tomorrow during the day, whereas today we basically stayed in the 50s all day, tomorrow we will get into the low mid 60s, and even before we approach midnight, I think temperatures may be on the rise, certainly after midnight going into Saturday morning. So heading to parades tomorrow night, wanting to know what to wear, we'll be in the 60s. So again, probably 10 plus degrees warmer than we are right now. Kind of a quick cool down and then a quick warm up for Saturday with highs in the 80s. Now during the day Saturday, going into Saturday evening, maybe grab a rain jacket or an umbrella if you're headed out to the parades, but rain chances about 30%. And I think we'll have maybe a few quick passing showers, and that would be about it. Most of our storms, good and bad, are coming in after midnight on Sunday. The good, it's not going to be an issue for any of the parades or even leaving the parades or even going out after the parades, as it'll probably not really arrive here until around 2 a.m. or so. So, call it a night at some point. The bad news is the storms are rolling in during those early morning hours when most everyone is in bed, not able to kind of pay attention to the weather if any alerts are issued. So have the WWL app downloaded, because it will notify you if any alerts for your area are issued. We will then turn chilly through the day Sunday, and a very chilly week next week with probably more rain chances coming. We're entering what's called kind of a progressive period or a progressive pattern, where these upper disturbances are now frequenting across the nation, and with it, each one brings us a chance for showers and storms, and we tend to see a little bit of an up and down in our temperatures. Now, we kept some cloud cover around all day today, despite that cold front moving on through, because we still had this southwesterly flow aloft. That's starting to retreat a little bit, and we're also starting to see a lot of that cloud cover break apart, so mostly clear skies through the night tonight. Going into the day tomorrow, we will start off chilly, 40s, low 50s, and high temperatures again mid 60s. So we'll call it cool, as mid 60s is the normal high for this time of year. But notice as we go later into the evening and night Friday, we're already starting to see a southeasterly wind. I talk about this all the time. No matter how cold an air mass is, as soon as we pick up an onshore flow from the Gulf, temperatures and humidity immediately start increasing. So it will be a much milder evening tomorrow. Going into the day Saturday, that southeasterly and southerly wind really start picking up. So brisk winds out of the south, warm and humid. So not cool at all going into the parades on Saturday. Saturday during the day, maybe a stray shower, especially a little bit later into the evening, so around parade time. Again, umbrella, rain jacket, maybe, but the shower should be fairly quick and just kind of passing through. Doesn't look like a whole lot of activity developing out ahead of the front. Now, that could change, as usually these frontal systems and the lines are a little bit easier to forecast than any convection thunderstorms that develop out ahead of the line. And anything that develops out ahead could become strong to severe, so something that we'll be watching closely into Saturday evening. The greater threat of severe weather is up to our north. The line doesn't really start moving into our kind of western North Shore parishes, Tangi, St. Helena, Livingston, until 2 a.m. So this is the early morning time frame for the arrival of our storms. Passing across the North Shore into Mississippi, 4 a.m., probably already over the metro area and down into the river parishes, bayou parishes before 4 a.m. as well. Quickly clearing out, so the severe risk will be gone as most of us are waking up on on Sunday morning, but we will still have some lingering light showers, but kind of a cold rain, but quickly clearing, and then the rest of the day Sunday looking gorgeous. So our severe threat greater well to our north, with kind of the same thing we saw last night, is a level 2 out of 5 for severe storms. Isolated rogue storms could become strong to severe. Main threat would be gusty winds, but can't rule out an isolated tornado, though the greater risk of tornadic storms is going to be more to our north. So what you would need to do, again, for that timing of more after midnight to pre-dawn Sunday, is have a way to get those weather alerts. Downloading the WWL app will give you an alert. It will wake you up, and it will be specific to your location. Now we're going to fast forward. We've gotten through our parades this weekend. We'll fast forward to midweek. Temperatures are going to be chilly. A cold front moves through on Sunday, and that will continue into next week. We're looking at a cold rain heading our way, but unlike the last time we had one of these Gulf lows with that Arctic air in place, this will just be chilly air in place. Models, though, do start to bring in some wintry weather, but not for us. It'll be maybe North Louisiana, maybe into North Mississippi. It'll be, for us, a cold rain going into late Tuesday through the night and going into early Wednesday morning before kind of clearing out Wednesday during the day, and then chilly clear weather is back for Thursday. So in our 7-day forecast, we will have a beautiful day tomorrow, and for the parades tomorrow evening, very nice. It'll be on the milder side. Again, temperatures, notice, are high on Friday, 65. The overnight low is 65. Temperatures basically not going to change through the evening and overnight period tomorrow going into early Saturday. Then Saturday, high temperatures 80s. You definitely don't need anything to keep warm if you're headed to the parade Saturday night. Maybe grab an umbrella or a rain jacket just in case we have one of those passing showers. But again, the bulk of our rain comes in during the early morning hours of Sunday, wrapping up around daybreak or just after that on Sunday. Beautiful weather Monday, but chilly. We're looking at a light freeze on the North Shore and probably upper 30s, low 40s south, and plenty of sunshine. Then that next disturbance brings in a chance for rain going throughout the day Tuesday, more so early Wednesday, and wrapping up Wednesday morning. Devin?
All right, Chris, thank you so much. We are live right now on WWL Plus. I want to thank all of you for joining us there. Also, I know we've got some people watching on Facebook. We've got people watching on YouTube. Thank you all for joining for this special forecast. We know that everyone is worried about their parades and if things are going to get rained out, if you should bring your poncho, if you should bring your coat, if you should bring your sandals. Who knows? Never bring sandals to a parade, actually. Chris, for everyone, I know you just laid out the whole deal, but can you simplify it? If you are riding in Croix de Vaux or going to Croix de Vaux on Saturday night, should you be worried even toward the end of the parade that you're going to run into some bad weather?
Okay, how late are you still out after Croix de Vaux?
Listen, I have a baby. I am not out.
Keep in mind, I have 2 young kids, so I'm not out late anywhere anymore.
Okay, let's say 10 p.m.
10 p.m.? Okay, let's take a look. We're going into Saturday afternoon. We are still mostly dry. Now again, it's usually difficult to pinpoint exactly where storms could fire up ahead of a front. The good news is this front is not going to arrive here until well after midnight. I'm talking about here in south central Louisiana. So during the evening hours, notice how our model, and this is one of our high resolution models, only brings in a little passing light shower here and there. So I don't want to say we're going to be completely dry, but I also don't think, at least the way the models have been set up right now, it's going to be particularly wet. Some passing showers, certainly if they avoid the French Quarter, avoid the parade routes altogether, then no issue Saturday night. The later into the night we get Saturday and going into early Sunday morning now, the better your chance of getting in on those storms. So here we are at midnight, and again, still relatively dry. None of those storms associated with the front arrive until well after 2 a.m. Now I know there are still some night owls. They're going to be out and about, not on the parade route any longer, but in the quarter at 2 a.m. That's going to be the better chance of seeing those storms. And again, the timing is going to change. It could be a little bit faster, it could be a little bit slower, but we do have at least consistency that this is all coming in well after the parades are done. I don't think it's going to be a dramatic shift. Again, maybe 1 or 2 hours either way, but I think we're going to see a dramatic change to where now the front looks like it'll be arriving Saturday afternoon. I don't think that's going to be the case, mainly because the upper disturbance I was showing you on water vapor that will trigger this is already starting to move into the west coast. So we're getting a good sampling of that system. So the models are pretty much locked on the timing. So the later out you are going into early Sunday morning, the better your chances of getting in on those storms, which again will be rolling through here between about 2 and 6 a.m. And I'm talking about the entirety of southeast Louisiana.
Chris, I know that this time of year, so much hinges on your forecasts, parade schedules, enjoyment, merriment, all of the things.
Yes.
I know that on Sunday, I'm looking at our brand new parade tracker app right now. Sunday, we do have parades that start at noon. There's one in Metairie. The Crew of Little Rascals is at noon.
Oh, yeah.
Then we have got one in Slidell. We've got Nefertiti in New Orleans East. So will all of this be gone and out of here, or are those parades in a little bit of a sticky situation?
No, really, if anything, we might still have a few lingering showers between 7 and 8 a.m. on Sunday, but at that point, the severe threat is gone. The front has already passed through. It's going to be chilly and windy for our Sunday parades. So those midday afternoon parades, it is going to be chilly. We'll start to finally see some sunshine. May still have some lingering clouds around during that time frame, but our computer model here showing the clouds are already starting to move out. Winds are becoming brisk out of the north, and the temperatures are staying in the lower to mid 50s. So parades on Sunday are looking very chilly. So again, Saturday, don't need to dress warmly for the parades. Sunday, absolutely dress warmly for those parades.
So it goes this time of year. You got to just put everything in the car and
absolutely just have all outfits. And we're starting to get, I don't want to get ahead of myself. We're starting to get a rough idea of even the following weekend. That would be in Metairie, the Crew of Mad Hatters, which I'm riding in again.
Nice.
Weather's looking chilly. We'll probably be in the 50s for parade time. And again, that's kind of beyond our 7 to even 10-day forecast, but starting to get a rough idea of it probably being on the cooler side for that next big weekend.
Rain is what will really ruin it, so we just
rain.
Cross our
it's
fingers.
Always questionable with rain, but temperature-wise, we kind of get a rough idea, and it does look like that next weekend would be on the cooler side.
That's good. All right. Well, that forecast is on its way, I'm sure, in the next couple days.
Let's get through one weekend at a time.
Yes,
absolutely.
All right, Chris. Anything else to actually, we have a question from Facebook.
Good.
If we'll take a question, why does the SPC always change their level threat further south as the storm approaches? Because rarely do they move it south to north. That is a very technical question. I like it.
Rarely do they move it. Okay, well, usually it's because the conditions right along the Gulf Coast, South Louisiana, Southern Mississippi, I'm talking about our kind of coastal counties, and then into lower Alabama, severe weather here right along the Gulf Coast is a little bit more difficult to come by, especially in terms of a widespread outbreak, which is that level 3, 4, or 5, and that hatched area that you do see from the Storm Prediction Center. So usually what happens is the initial forecast a couple of days out, the Storm Prediction Center, that's the SPC, will issue these and kind of exclude southeast Louisiana. As the line gets closer, or we start to finally see the line setting up, models change and we start to get new and better data that maybe there is a need to adjust that a little bit farther south. But actually, even as the line was approaching us yesterday afternoon, evening, it started to look less and less likely that the line would really hold together with regards to tornadic storms, even on the North Shore. And so even before the tornado watch was expired yesterday at 8 p.m., we saw the Storm Prediction Center, which had placed a level 3, that's the highlighted in orange area, for the North Shore. They had already removed it and shifted a little bit more. So sometimes they do shift just as the data comes in. Trying to forecast exactly where severe weather is going to kind of springboard and approach is very difficult. In the plains, pretty easy. I spent a year working in Kansas, and it's usually a little bit easier there. Along and right along the Gulf Coast, it's a little bit trickier. We talk about Dixie Alley being the southern tornado alley compared to Tornado Alley out in the plains. Dixie Alley really doesn't include the immediate Gulf Coast. So as bad as our weather can be in New Orleans and southeast Louisiana, we tend not to get the widespread tornadic outbreaks. We could of course get tornadoes, but we tend not to get the outbreaks like we can see just north of our state line. So that's why usually the initial threat is more north, but if it looks more and more likely that it could be a bit farther south, we could see the Storm Prediction Center kind of shift it. And again, that may change as we get closer to Sunday morning's forecast.
All right, Chris, that's super interesting. Thank you. We'll take one more question before we sign off here. Flooding, do we need to be worried about it over the next few days?
Not really. This rainfall does look like it'll kind of move through fairly quickly. The exact amounts is all kind of being looked at. But as in terms of widespread flooding, no. Maybe some localized street flooding within some of the heavier downpours, certainly possible. There was a risk of that yesterday, and thankfully we did not see it. So there's always a risk with these type of scenarios, but not looking to be a major flooding event.
Good news. All right, Chris, thank you so much. Thank all of you for joining us on WWL Plus and YouTube and Facebook and all the places
everywhere
in between. We appreciate it, and we will see you back on WWL at 10 o'clock. Have a good evening.